Cape ANC due to elect new leadership for the first time in 8 years at a conference held this weekend. It was due to kick off officially yesterday at the Cape Town International Convention Centre but was delayed due to various logistical problems. The conference is being held under the theme Rebuilding and Renewal. Let's speak now to political analyst Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast. A very good morning to you, Professor Breakfast. Why is the Western Cape ANC seemingly always in such a constant state of disarray?
Well, first of all, Thembekile, I think the ANC was dealt with a blow by the expulsion of Marius Fransman, because that left a void, and that void has not been bridged. So because of that, the ANC has not been functioning as a unified force. It has not been functioning as a unit. But also the ANC has had its own internal dynamics, along racial lines. But there are also other threats which are external. I think they've got a tough competition because the DA has been doing very well, and they take pride in running the Western Cape and also in running their municipalities. I'm not saying that the DA does not have weaknesses. It does have weaknesses as well. But at the same time, I think the ANC has not performed during elections the way it should have, because they've got more problems. So they need to elect a good leadership that will reflect, in my opinion, the demographics of the Western Cape, because there's this long-standing argument that the ANC believes in the liberation of black people, Africans in particular, and that sidelines other communities. So I think on matters of leadership, they need to be sensitive who they elect. They need to have a leadership that reflects the demographics of the Western Cape, so that they can be welcomed in different places where they go to.
And by that you mean pay attention to the election of people who perhaps would reflect demographics in areas that still, as a result perhaps even of spatial planning, identify as predominantly coloured communities, which have in the past complained about feeling underrepresented and unheard within the African National Congress.
Precisely, Thembekile. There has been that argument that the ANC tends to gravitate to black communities, and it tends to turn a blind eye to coloured communities. That is a serious matter. We cannot downplay that issue. I think we need to listen to different voices so that we can make our democracy to flourish. But also that is extremely important for the ANC itself.
And one of the people then who is at the right at the front, of the queue as far as the race to become provincial chairperson is Richard Dyangi, current chairperson of the committee in Parliament looking into Advocate Mqobana's fitness to hold office. He's running at provincial level, yes, but he's still got the issue of those allegations against him in Parliament. Does that compromise his standing as a potential leader for the Western Cape?
I don't want to play the cart before the horse in terms of the validity of those allegations, because they are serious. But at the same time, I think it would be unfair to cast aspersions on him. Though I think the allegations, they do dent his image, but I think he's very much capable. At the same time, I think also he's got a tough competition. I think Doug Moore is a credible contender who has been involved in the liberation struggle, and he seems to be very popular in different communities.
There's also been something in the last 24 hours that suggests a lack of discipline, if you will, within the ANC in the Western Cape. I mean, issues of delegates who had left mid-conference yesterday to go back to hotel rooms, and even at those hotel rooms we're hearing people had brought along their friends, which logistically led to a space issue. How do you even put faith in a group of delegates engaged in that behavior to make sober decisions for the future of a population that is one of the largest in the country?
Well, I mean, the ANC in the Western Cape has been in disarray. And of course, what compounds the situation is the issue of ill discipline. So they need to work on that in terms of making sure that they instill party discipline. Because, I mean, any organization that doesn't have members who are disciplined cannot perform better during elections. So, but at the same time, there have been other arguments that the leadership of the ANC at national level has been turning a blind eye to the operations of the branches of the ANC and the ANC on the whole in the Western Cape. So I think maybe the issue of the issue of ill discipline is caused by that.
And what becomes the task for the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, who's due to open conference, and the party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, who, if all goes according to plan, is due to close the gathering? What should be the objective for their trips to the Western Cape this weekend in order to make sure that they not only leave a provincial structure intent on rebuilding, but one that is able to, in the election next year, show an improvement in public support?
Well, I think they need to appeal to the rank and file in particular of the Western Cape and articulate what the party stands for and remind the party of its historic mission and also remind the party that elections are just around at the corner. I think by so doing, they'll be able to close some of the gaps because there are a lot of factional divisions there in the Western Cape. So they need to make sure that that gap is bridged.
Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, good to have your thoughts as always. Thank you for your time this morning.